I've got to believe that a millennium ago, makers and craftsmen, they got their inspiration exactly how we do today, through imagery. They saw something they liked, they incorporated it into their build. It's only today we're a lot more efficient at it. I mean, how many of us have searched Google Images, perused Instagram, or wandered around Pinterest, all with the idea of finding some little spark of inspiration we can incorporate into our next build? So that begs the question, are we just a lot more efficient thieves nowadays? Original ideas are actually a lot rarer than most people think. I mean, in the furniture making world, their styles have come and gone, but that person that first introduced a style, the amount of effort they put into it, to getting the proportions just right, the joinery just right, so it actually does work as a piece of furniture, but has a unique look all to themselves, that's not an everyday occurrence. And that first person that does it, well, there are so many people that jump on the bandwagon that do they ever really get the benefit of their work? Now, this isn't anything unique to the modern era. I mean, regional differences in styles have always been there, and somebody in each region had to come up with the adaptations that were unique to them, that the locals appreciated more than they would have gotten elsewhere. But back then, once one craftsman started doing something, well, a customer would just ask another craftsman across or down the street to do the same thing. And that's how regional styles probably came to exist. That first visionary really had no protection. Now in the modern era, we have some intellectual property protections. I mean, you can get a patent for a furniture style. But in the real world, is that really going to work? I mean, a patent has to be something novel, useful, and just not obvious. And furniture design, while they can be very, very unique, the joinery can be quite complex. It could be completely original. Most everything in our realm is derivative of something else. So actually getting that kind of patent is kind of unlikely. Plus the fact that you would have to enforce that patent. You would basically have to go to court every time somebody produced not only your version, but anything derivative of it. And something being derivative is quite complex to prove. So if we go with the idea that furniture making and woodworking is more art, then a copyright can be a lot easier to initiate than a patent. Well, basically all you have to do is mail your design to yourself and leave the envelope sealed. And that way, if you ever go into court to prove that you created something, you have a government sealed document that the judge can open up, and there you go, date and seal. But once again, you've got to protect your creativity. And those people that do the creative work, are they really the litigious type? Rarely are there. I mean, look at how many Maloof style rockers. Yes, Maloof gets credit for it, but I can't imagine he could get any kind of copyright on it, because even his design was derivative of something else. He brought a unique aspect to it. But hey, today a popular furniture fad, because of technology making it so much easier with laser cutters and plasma cutters and specialized glass cutters, are these river tables. But who really was the first to come out with it? I know somebody did it first, but nowadays it's mainly associated with the likes of Greg Class and a lot of other people that are copying the stuff. But throughout human history, isn't that kind of the norm? I mean, even musicians 100 years ago, they might come up with an original song, original tune, sing it by the campfire, and that was pretty much the most benefit they ever received of it. It might be incredibly original, but it got passed along, everybody else sung it, some people modified it, and the original creator's identity was lost. And even if the original creator's identity wasn't lost, look at how many timeless and world-famous musicians died in poverty. Is that really kind of the natural path of art? That it's created, passed on, and it lives a life of its own? Even today, you can find artists that have changed entire genres, built an entire art form around what they have done, that receive little to none credit or benefit from their work. Clyde Stubblefield, part of the James Brown band, created 12 notes in his funky drummer riff that were pretty much the foundation of modern hip-hop and rap. Countless artists have sampled that work as a backbeat for their melodies and lyrics. And like the musicians sitting around the campfire, the only benefit Clyde ever got was what he received immediately from that day, his studio session fee. Now, our modern laws are written so that you can use somebody's artistic idea without giving them credit under the fair use guidelines. But that's really just if you're using a small portion of it in the realm of making a comment about it, criticizing it, or you can use a larger portion of it if you are parodying it, making fun of it, which is a form of free speech. But blatantly stealing 12 notes that a guy came up with, or a design element in a furniture leg, that really isn't fair use, especially if you're turning around and selling it. But that brings to the conversation, where is the line? If so much is derivative of other things, if you use a design element from one artist's imagination and incorporate it into an entirely different project, do you need to give credit? Well, what if your final project incorporates design elements for hundreds of different people, all derivative, all coming to a new form, a new piece of artwork? Do you need to give credit to those hundreds of people? In the craft area, that is what we are doing. We are building upon knowledge of our past generations. Somebody down the line was incredibly innovative, incredibly artistic, possessed an imagination to incorporate lines and curves in pleasing manners, colors to complement, textures to entice. And as more and more people borrowed those ideas, incorporated them into their own, they become the standard of the genre. In craft, it seems that legally it's protected, but in the real world, in real life, the art lives a life of its own. And while there is an argument that a lot of these elements have been around for hundreds of years, well past the time that even modern day laws would have protected that artist, because generally today, things like patent and copyright laws are written to protect the artist's right for at least his lifetime, plus an extension after that, so his family members can benefit from their lifetime of work. And that's important because of the type of innovations that are entering this artistic realm today. Changes in chemistry, metallurgy, new techniques, the proliferation of technology coming down the pipeline so that new artists can get a hold of it, use them in unique ways, makes new techniques coming out on a regular basis almost common. And those artists that have spent years mastering the latest technology, the latest chemical processes to come up with some really innovative and creative features should be able to benefit from their work. But using me as an example, as a bold term, I nowadays use dyes and chemicals in very unique ways because they will blend in with end grain differently from long grain. They will create new effects in wavy woods. Those are the kind of techniques I learned from Jimmy Clues, who was using waxes and dyes and unique methods, at least to me. Now, he might have gotten it from another individual, but I don't know that. So do not I need to give credit to Jimmy Clues for all the artistic elements I'm bringing into sculptures, bowls, and woodwork? What about those same pieces of the infusion aspects I've learned from Curtis, who's known for putting cactus skeletons inside of pens, one of the first people to do that one, and now infusing woods, wild woods, wrought wood, acrylic and based embedments inside wood is a new and great fad. Do people need to credit their predecessors for the latest pens that they've created? Because all that is new technology, at least within the lifespan of the artist. You have been watching me build a new sawtill, something I've been putting off forever. But while browsing Instagram, I found a picture in a very accomplished woodworker's feed. It wasn't a complex design. In fact, it was 2 cuts to a board, but it was done in such a unique way for a unique application that the idea, the design, was really wholly their own. And I contacted this person. They did not derive this from anybody else's work. They came up with it. They did qualify that it was a simple enough design that probably existed out there beforehand, but this was wholly their idea. So I've taken that original thought, that original creation, incorporated it as the foundation of my build. It's a simple element. It's an elegant element. It is an artistic design. So I guess the moral question comes down. When you come across something like this that you blatantly steal, is it incumbent upon you as a fellow artist to give credit where credit is due? How much of the design, how much of the spark of inspiration must there be for you to give credit where it's justified?